And hey everyone, happy Friday, TGIF. I'm here today with a very special Friday edition, welcoming a new guest, Kevin Gray from Dell EMC/Dell Tech, whatever you want to call Dell. It's a fantastic organization within the Telecom Solutions Group. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, how you doing, Evan?
I'm doing well for Friday. Thank you very much. This is like a special Massachusetts edition. I'm on the North Shore. You're in Mass, so
Correct.
let's go Pats.
All right.
We'll see how they do on Sunday. We won't go into that. That's a whole nother podcast. But you are in a pretty exciting division at Dell, involved with the next generation of wireless at 5G and edge networking, IoT. Tell us more about you and your team at Dell.
Okay, so if you look at our Dell Technologies, we're making in our telecom systems business. We see, the telecom industry going through some significant changes, right? They're moving to cloud-native architectures. They're, moving to a disaggregated ecosystem as they build out their systems for 5G. So, that's something that Dell's done for years with its customers, right? We've helped numerous companies across a number of organizations kind of really digitally transform their business. And as the telecom industry goes through this, it becomes a natural motion for Dell to get involved in this area. So we recognize that it's a huge business opportunity for us, and we're investing heavily in this area.
Investing, to say the least. I'm just trying to keep track of the weekly announcements that come out of Dell on edge computing and 5G and Open RAN, lots of buzzwords to talk about. One piece in particular I read of yours just recently was about StarlingX, which sounds like a black ops operation somewhere near Area 51, but it's a little less interesting than that, maybe. It's an open source software platform for the far edge, the leading edge, the edge network. Tell us more about StarlingX and the rationale behind it.
Well, StarlingX is something that is, as you said, optimized for the far edge. So it uses open source components from things like OpenStack and Kubernetes, and has really built a cloud platform for edge applications. And in particular, it's very much offers a telco grade version of the cloud platform. So one of the things it's used in is, if you look at the Open RAN initiatives, it's one of these recommended cloud foundation pieces that's integrated in some of the work groups they have as a part of Open RAN. So you see a lot of operators, most notably Vodafone. We recently made some announcements about their work with Dell and Wind River in building out their Open RAN environment and that they're rolling out in the UK. And so, we're working with partners like Wind River, who offers a sort of commercial distribution of StarlingX to help operators kind of build their next generation networks for edge or RAN or even or core or whatever part of the network.
Yeah, tell us what's new and what's different when it comes to network design. I mean, traditionally these networks have been pretty closed, pretty much black boxes. It's been tough to get insights, analytics, data out of the network. Does StarlingX change that approach?
Well, I think it's part of the approach, right? So if you look at StarlingX, it's an open source distribution that's focused on the edge. And if you look at where the industry is moving, it's really moving towards open standards based on industry standard hardware, really separating the hardware from the software functions so that you can bring more agility and, get more innovation by, building an entire ecosystem to build out the network and support. And that's an area, as I said, Dell is investing in significantly.
That's interesting. I think it's about driving down costs and time to market and complexity. Tell us about this ecosystem. You have quite a few partners you
Yeah.
work with. How is that coming along?
So we have a number of partners. Just on our foundation side, we work with, Wind River, as I mentioned. We also work with Red Hat and VMware, of course. And all of these have cloud platforms that they're building out. So, VMware has their telco cloud platform. Red Hat OpenShift is obviously a leading offering in this area, as well as Wind River Studio. So we're building foundational, cloud platforms specifically with the vendors based on each one of these, working with them to really validate it on Dell hardware. We're also making significant investments in our server portfolio. So Dell's always been a leader in servers and is the industry leader in servers. It's one of the industry leaders in servers, but we're making investments in really platforms that are really optimized for RAN and Open RAN and some of the new initiatives that are coming out, so that they're really meant to deliver, operate in the very harsh, space constrained environments found at the edge, working with the open standards that are being driven within the industry for the network.
Yeah, it's exciting. And are you involved personally in some of the working groups? I know I've spoken with some of your colleagues in various Open RAN communities, and they're just moving so fast.
Yeah.
It's really hard to keep track of what's happening there day to day.
So yeah, well, Dell in general is involved in a lot of the working groups. We're working specifically, if you look at StarlingX as an example, we just had a presentation this week at the Open Infra Live keynotes panel discussion, where one of our directors, John McCready, was on with some folks from Vodafone, as well as Wind River, talking about enhancements associated with StarlingX and some of the groups that they have operating there to really help build out these types of platforms.
It's interesting. You guys have traditionally played more of the support role with servers and storage and networks, the kind of the foundations of the network. It's a little different when you're getting involved in specifications and standards and talking to operators directly. That must be pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at Dell, and the work we've done in the past around driving, hyper-converged infrastructure and building out the components of a cloud stack, that's something that we've done for a very long time. And so I think Dell's got a lot to bring to the table when it comes to bringing this type of capability to the telecommunications industry. And we're sort of all in on this as an organization. So it's kind of an exciting place to be.
Yeah, I bet. And in terms of your workplace, I mean, you haven't missed a trick as far as the pandemic. It seems like everyone just like went remote day one, and you've been pushing along. Although you are near headquarters here regionally in Boston.
I am. I mean, that's a little bit of how Dell is changing, right? Just like the rest of the industry. So I think we said we had, shortly after, within weeks of the pandemic hitting and the shutdown, we had virtually our entire workforce, working remote. This environment you're seeing here is a piece of my basement that I carved out, and it's just become a permanent office now, right? My wife told me to kick in a photo in the back, and
it's nice. I won't ask what it is, but it's definitely eye candy. So,
but that's the nature of Dell now, and I think it's the nature of the world. So, more and more people are moving remote, and Dell is moving right along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys were built for this sort of thing as a company. And what are you looking forward to? Are you getting out, meeting your various colleagues around the world, or
Yeah,
going to events or standards groups? Are you managing to travel a bit these days?
I haven't traveled yet. Our next, for a while at least, our next real big one we hope to be at is Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. We'll see how that goes, but certainly hopeful that we'll be back in front of people in the not too distant future.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine what it was like pre-pandemic. I was at about a dozen Mobile World Congresses going back to when it was in Cannes and then Nice and then of course Barcelona. And I really hope we get our act together as a world and get this thing under control, because it'd be nice to see some folks face to face again. And I imagine you do a lot of interop and internetworking and testing and integration work. So is that all virtually, or do you sort of go into the lab from time to time as well?
There are a lot of labs, and so the type of work here that Dell's doing is really compatibility. So certainly there's a need to get into labs from time to time, but a lot of it is, we're interconnecting with different labs with our partners, and some aspects of it are running remote as well. So there's an element of both of that.
Yeah, so you have a long career in telecom, as do I, about 30 years. So it kind of dates me. I don't know if it dates you, but for me, it's the most exciting time in telecom, despite the pandemic with the move to software defined networks and high speed wireless. It's just an amazing time. What are you most excited about over the next few weeks and months in our industry or in Dell in general?
Well, to be honest with you, I've only been in telecom for the past few years. Prior to that, I came from the Dell side, and prior to that, the EMC side, and worked a lot of the, managed a lot of the cloud and hybrid cloud, worked in a lot of the cloud and hybrid cloud organizations, managing marketing for that. So, the last few years really ramping up on telecom and seeing the type of opportunity that there is there to really take some of those cloud native principles that have been applied on the IT side of the house and work with a lot of the experts, the people that we've brought in the organization from the telecom side of the house, and marry those two to really take the telecom industry to that next level of agility that they're going to need for 5G.
Oh, that's such a great point. I mean, I love that cloud native is all the rage in telecom, but that's just the way of doing business in
Yeah.
the rest of the internet speed and web scalers and hyperscalers and that kind of thing. And so this industry has a lot of catching up to do, in my humble opinion. And it's great to see Dell helping with the transformation and optimization and really building out these networks the way they need to scale, because the way they are today, I don't know they're going to keep up unless we have some fundamental change and advancements. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
well, thanks. And I think it's something that's just a great opportunity for the telecom operators, right? Expanding their business into the enterprise. And in order to do that, they're going to really need to become more agile. They're going to need to deliver more cloud native applications, because that'll be the expectation of their customers, that they are that way. And, being able to deliver solutions, be it an edge cloud or on a customer premise, this is just a path to more revenues and more profitability for the operators.
Absolutely, it's as much about business as tech. Well, look, thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate your insights. We'll be watching you on LinkedIn and the rest of your team with all the updates and news. And stay safe and go Pats.
Thank you, and go Pats.
All right,
Take care.
take care. Bye bye.